On today's Chasing the Game, we have Northview volleyball coach Chad Rutkowski. We talk about him, his coaching career, and check in on the Wildcats ahead of the high school tournament. Chasing the Game starts right now. Welcome into Chasing the Game. Chad Rutkowski is here. Chad, thanks for coming in and doing this. I know we've been talking for this about a while, trying to get you in here and talk about the season and everything. Just how's life? How are things?
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us. Things are good. Crazy busy with end of the season ramping up. Tournament starts this week. Senior day tomorrow. Looking forward to putting a bow on the regular season and jumping into the tournament here.
Absolutely. What is that like, this end of the season? You guys are probably playing some non-conference opponents, and then you have to transition to, the games absolutely matter more than they ever have. It's, win or go home. What's that like, this kind of end of the year part of the season?
Yeah, we really build our schedule to be really tough at the end of the year. Really make sure we're working on the things that we need to work on, making sure that we're really fine-tuning those missing links. So hopefully when we're ready to go, we're ready. We're scoring at a high clip right now, which is fun. We just had a school record for kills on yesterday's match. So, we're really doing a nice job on the offensive side. So we're looking forward to seeing what happens here.
So the team is kind of where you want them to be at this point in the season, hopefully, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, as much as we can, we're still super young. We only have 4 seniors on a roster of 15. So we're looking forward to seeing how this group continues to strive forward, and then obviously what sets the stage for next year as well.
Yeah, you guys obviously have the talented junior class. Frankie, you got Elena Sauer is one of those people. Like, what's it like kind of having that really strong junior class? You got a couple of younger underclassmen kids that are talented. Yeah,
it's neat to have just kids that can continue to come through. Every year we've got an outstanding sophomore class this year. We've got a freshman on varsity this year that is just a powerhouse. She hit almost 600 yesterday in our match. So we've got some really good young kids coming through. And then not just on the varsity squad, but also in the sub-varsity program as well. So we're really building it. Our junior high kids are doing a great job as well. So we're looking forward to having them come in next year as well. So we just kind of hopefully reload. We continue to build that program and just continue to strive forward.
What's that like now? Because you've been coaching Northview now since, 2016, something like that?
Yeah, this is year 10.
So this is, it's a decade now. What's the kind of last decade been like? I know this is a loaded question, but the last decade now of building a program like this, what's it kind of take to get from when you started to where it is now?
Yeah, Emily Jones was the head coach prior to me, and Emily did a fantastic job with the program, so really was able to take that and just kind of run with it and continue to build it. My goal was always to make Northview a volleyball school, and do the best I can with what we have. The administration's been great, allow us to do whatever we want to just continue to make volleyball a priority. We had over 800 kids in our summer camps this year, so we're just trying to make volleyball a bigger priority in the city of Sylvania, and hopefully we're doing a good job.
Well, I mean, you guys obviously have done very well for yourselves. You guys have always been a competitive team in the Northern Lakes League, which the last few years have become very competitive with Anthony Wayne, with Perrysburg being well, and Fremont, Ross, and Clay, which are traditional volleyball schools, have been added to the conference. What's that like in the last few years, just the schools that have come in and the powers that have kind of arose in the Northern Lakes League? Yeah,
we talk as coaches in the league. That might be one of the toughest leagues in the state of Ohio, if not the toughest league in the state of Ohio. Self-proclaimed maybe, but it really is. If you look at the depth of it, any night it is a battle. So we're fortunate that we have some really great programs in our conference. We get to play them night in and night out, and it really, again, as you talk about preparing for the end of the season, right? You're playing 14 conference matches that allow you to really know you're going to have great competition every single day, and you're more than prepared.
Yeah, we talked earlier about the talent you guys have. Frankie is the one who kind of gets all the attention. She's the one getting college looks. What's it like having her on the team? She's like 6'1". She's got tons of great height. What's it like having a player like that on your back line?
I think the greatest thing about Frankie is she's just she's everything you would want in a player, not only from a skill perspective, but beyond intelligent in the classroom. Lights up a room, any room she goes into, people know, they're like, I know who that kid is, and really that's just her personality. That's how she was raised, and she's just a delight to have in the gym. But also then works her butt off every single day, and everything we do is always asking, hey, Coach Chad, what else can we do? What else? How can I do this? How can I get better at this? And that's what you want. You want kids that are continuously learning and continuously growing as players, even when maybe they're done with you. You want them to continue to come back to you and ask, hey, if you did this, how would you do this? And that's the neat thing.
Yeah, you've had tons of talented kids come through the program, kids who have gone on to the college level. Where does she kind of stand in that sort of, I don't know if you do like power rankings of all-time kids for the program, but where does she sort of stand in that?
Yeah, she's definitely in the top tier there. You talk about some of the historic kids that have gone through since I've been there. Cameron Hunt, Sid Hires, Claire Smith, Emma Ducate. Those are all D1 kids that have gone on to play. Frankie's just got as volleyball has grown, Frankie's gotten a lot more notoriety. There's a lot more lists and there's a lot more power rankings, amongst kids in the state. And we've known she was coming since she was in like the 5th grade. So we knew this was going to be a potential here. And I think the ride is exciting for her. The recruiting ride is going to be, it's going to be an enjoyable ride for her, and we're looking forward to seeing what happens next for her.
Yeah, she's only a junior, and you beat me to it. I was going to ask, how soon did you know about her? Because sometimes you know about kids in 8th grade, and you see them kind of coming up in junior high. You're like, oh, that's a kid to watch out for. But you knew about her in 5th grade.
Yeah, she started coming to our camps in 5th grade. Mom's a teacher in the district now, but they've always been in the district, and it's something that we knew as she was coming in. We're like, man, this kid's going to be really special when she gets here. We didn't realize how special, but we knew she was going to be special. And again, just a all-around great teammate, great person, great community person. You say it, she does it right.
Yeah. I want to take it back to you. You were a Cardinal Stritch guy, right? Did you grow up going to school there?
I did, yes. Yeah. And it was my first coaching job was at Cardinal Stritch. Won the first district title in school history in 2012. My first year there, my first and only year there as the head coach.
Yeah. What was that like, kind of growing up, going to Cardinal Stritch? Did they have volleyball for boys back then? Yeah. What was that like, kind of going to school? How did you kind of figure out volleyball was the thing you liked?
I always played basketball. Went and played a year of college basketball at Defiance College my freshman year. Ended up not enjoying it as much as I thought I was going to, so decided to transfer to BG. And one of my friends was like, "Hey, you should look at the club volleyball program," and did, and met some of my best friends in life there, and got to be a part of some national 3rd place finishes. It really just volleyball just kind of took over. And if somebody would have said, 20 years ago, "Hey, you're going to end up being a volleyball coach and running a volleyball facility and being a club director," I would have thought you were absolutely crazy. But here we are, right? And it's been awesome. It's been a ride. Volleyball's given me some of my best friends, some great experiences traveling abroad, and just coaching some fantastic individuals and meeting some really awesome people.
Club volleyball in college is such an interesting thing to me because, Noelle Blumel, who, sports reporter for us, she played, volleyball at the college club level. She played, collegiately as like a varsity athlete, but then she also played at the club level. What's it like when you're not a varsity athlete, but you're a club athlete? And you guys probably had to raise a lot of money for travel and things like that. What was that like, kind of being a part of maybe a lesser looked at program at BGSU?
Yeah, it was all self-funded, right? It was how much can we raise? Well, what did we do? We would clean Anderson Arena after volleyball matches. We would line judge. We would run tournaments. We would do, the random things just to raise some money. That's why I think for us it's important. Like, we hire the UT women's club team to line judge our matches because I know how important it is to fundraise, and if we can pay them a little bit to do it, cool. So it's something we continue to do now at Northview. But back then it was just trying to make volleyball as fun as it could be, and we had a great group when I was at BG that we were just a bunch of people that wanted to play volleyball, and how could we do it? And we had a blast. It was some of the best experiences, traveling to Salt Lake and Dallas and, all over the Midwest, but some big events that we were very successful at.
Yeah, you travel, at least from hearing from Noelle, from hearing from you, you travel all over the place, just as like a club, not even like a D1 athlete, but like you're traveling all over the world.
Yeah.
So you get out of that, and how soon did you get into coaching? Was it right after you graduate from college, or how soon did you get into the coaching?
Yeah, so my first year at Cardinal Stritch, I was kind of helping with the team at the point because a friend of mine was the coach, and then the next year the job came open, and my AD said, "Hey, if you would like to take the reins, we'd love to have you. Had a great team at that point, fantastic senior leadership, some people that I'm still super close with from that team that are now moms of their own kids who are playing volleyball. And it was a special team. Like I said, we won the first district title in school history, and it was really, really special with that group. And then started the transition over to Premier, got out of high school coaching for a little bit, and then at one point the Northview job came open, and my boss at the time said, it's time for you to get back into high school coaching. I really had no affinity to Sylvania or to Northview, and here we are 10 years later, and I'm only meant to stay for a couple of years, and I don't plan on leaving.
So how did you get talked into Northview? What was the story there?
So there was actually in the spring of 16, there was 3 jobs open all simultaneously. Perrysburg, Southview, Northview were all open at the same time. As we know, Coach Davidson at Perrysburg is the head coach of Perrysburg, has been for the past 10 years as well. She ended up getting that job, and the Northview job was one that fed Premier, is a great feeder program for us. So it was a natural fit. We had a lot of kids that were participating, and to get me in there and continue to build the program, like I said, from what Emily had done. It was awesome. I mean, it was, an easy interview process. Our athletic director, Chris Irwin, is the best in the biz. I think he's absolutely fantastic. Kudos to him and his staff, but it made it really easy. The administration's super supportive, and they really allow us to just kind of take the reins and do what we can.
Did it feel overwhelming at all going from Cardinal Stritch, which is, I know Cardinal Stritch is as small as it gets, to go to Northview, which is, Division II in a lot of sports, and including volleyball? What was that like?
Yeah. No, it really was, just taking volleyball and just trying to ramp it up, right? I know the game, I think, as a coach fairly well, hopefully really well at some points. But it was great. We had some great kids that first year. Ran into a big slump. We had a couple injuries those first couple of years that really set us back. Had some seasons where I'm like, man, I don't know if this is going to be sustainable. But obviously it has been. And Northview is just, really at the end of the day, we had, up until I got there, we had won 1 district title back in 1999, and that was one of our biggest goals, was to get back to the district. Put some numbers on the banners and bring some championships home.
Yeah, and you guys had won, a couple of district titles now, right?
2 district titles, 2020 and 2022.
Yeah, and 22, I think, was the year. Did you guys win the NLL that year, too? Yeah, so, you clearly have had, it's been this build up to, the last few years have been very successful. And again, that comes with the expansion of the NLL. So just when you guys kind of reach that mountaintop, there's a whole other set of challenges that you guys have had to, kind of build up to. And so it feels like it's a never-ending conveyor belt of like a new challenge, as a coach. You said you go back to Premier because you were out of Premier for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So how did you get back to Premier?
Yeah. I had this kind of epiphany that I wanted to get back into sports. Sports is what I'm good at. Volleyball is what I'm good at. I had some great opportunities outside of volleyball, and tried to find my footing there. But at the end of the day, I was missing something. So I reached out to the owner, Premier, and Coach Ram. She said, "Hey, if you would like to come back, we'll make it happen." So I almost been a year now. Went back as a general manager. So we have a litany of girls programs, the boys programs up and running. We run volleyball pretty much from anybody from 3 years old all the way through the collegiate recruiting process. And it's been an amazing past year. Hard to believe it's been a year already, but and coaching a ton, every day, all day, as we were talking about earlier. So love it, absolutely love it.
Yeah, I did that story in the spring where I went over to Premier, and I've seen your guys' facility. I've seen what you guys do. There's so many girls that get involved in that. It is literally one of the premier clubs in Northwest Ohio. You have kids from all over the state that come to that facility. What's that like, being not just an assistant coach, but you're the general manager, right? So you're like one of the big wigs at that place.
I do what I can, right? No, it's awesome. I mean, I think we want to be if we can be like the volleyball authority, right? Really help to push volleyball forward in our community, whether that's people with us or in partnership with us. And I think it's been awesome to see the continued growth. Our staff is outstanding. They really they're all volleyball coaches. They love the game. They love every single minute of it. So it's been awesome. We've expanded to do a bunch of new things this year, and looking forward to doing more as the years go on. But yeah, it's wild to sometimes coach 3 teams at a time, and you're confusing kids and numbers and positions, and but at the end of the day, it's awesome. I mean, again, being able to influence kids through sports is probably one of the most powerful things you can do.
Yeah, I mean, it is insane when you think about it, because for the people who don't know, you're coaching the girls program at Northview, boys program at Northview, and Premier,
Premier girls and boys.
Yes, so many teams that you're in charge of. How do you even have time to breathe?
Yeah, I don't. No, I have a great support system at home. I have a great staff that keeps me grounded, allows me to do the things that I need to do, to take care of my physical and mental well-being as well. But it's, I don't know. We just do it. We just nose to the ground and get it done, and figure it out later. But we run 100 miles a minute all day, every day, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Do you feel like you have to, I don't know if code switch is the right word, but you basically have to change the way that you communicate with different teams, different levels of, because I feel like you said, you probably want to go 100 miles an hour with every team, but you have to be able to communicate exactly what you want to do. What's that like?
Yeah, from a coaching perspective, right, you just got to know the level of who you are. Coaching girls and boys is very different, right? How I approach a girls team is not how I would approach a boys team, and in gameplay or in practice. How I'm talking with parents and constituents, I always have to differentiate. I'm going to put my Northview coach Chad hat on now, so you understand who you're talking to, and I'm going to take that hat off and I'm going to put on the other hat now. And I think that just helps keep super clear lines of communication. But the girls that during the club season would always give me a hard time that hey, oh, you're going to go coach boys practice now, you're just going to leave us hang to dry, and I'm like, no, it's not like that. I'm here to help everybody. But it's been, it was great through and through. I mean, just any way that we can continue to advance volleyball and make volleyball better, and give somebody that opportunity, I think is just it's a positive thing.
What about that? I mean, just how much the sport has changed. Has the sport really changed significantly from the time you were in club, from the time you started coaching at Premier? How has the standard sort of changed for how people play volleyball? Yeah,
I mean, there's so many more resources now, right? There's so many different resources in terms of, how to pass and how to do this and how to do that. All the skills are really, really out there, and anybody can learn it. You could learn it if you wanted to coach volleyball, Chase. But really,
I might have to.
You may. The cool thing is, right, there's so much opportunity now to play volleyball. We're starting at a younger age. We start programs with 3-year-olds at Premier. And so it really allows us to build this pipeline of kids. It really allows us to build kids that are multi-sport athletes, right? That maybe volleyball is a second, third, or fourth sport for some of them, especially on the boys' side. Where on the girls' side, maybe it's their first priority, right? So I think from a Premier perspective, right, as I put on that Premier hat, we're looking to continue just to push kids to be the best that they want to be, right? If you can be in the gym all the time, be in the gym all the time. If you can only be in the gym partially, be in the gym partially, right? But continue to make yourself better, make your team better, make your program better. And I think that's exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah, and so tomorrow you got to put on Northview Chad hat, right? You guys are taking on Gilmore, right?
Yes. So tomorrow's senior night. Taking on Gilmore Academy tomorrow evening in Sylvania. I'm looking forward to capping off the 22 regular season season, and then prepare for Tuesday to play on Wednesday in the state tournament.
Yeah, the turnaround is so crazy. You guys go from playing one of the really good programs in Ohio, Gilmore Academy, to then you got to get ready for the tournament, and that's no slouch, right?
Yeah, we've got one day. We've got a great practice plan for that day already, and then we turn around 70 or 48 hours later, and we play Southview back at Northview in the first round of the tournament, which will be an electric environment. You bring the whole community together, and I mean, it was electric when they played us just a couple weeks ago at our place, and I'm sure with the stakes being as high as they are as the tournament starts, I expect it to be nothing more than a rowdy place on
Absolutely.
Wednesday night.
Absolutely. I can expect it to be pretty electric. Chad, thank you so much.
Chase.
Appreciate you coming
Yeah,
in.
thanks, man. Thanks for your time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Chasing the Game. Be sure to check out all of our episodes on the WTOL 11 Plus app, which you can download for free on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. You can also watch and listen for free on YouTube and on Spotify. We'll see you guys next time.